Patients who died in this tragedy, Christine Nxumalo. I thank you for being with us, Christine. And let's just say it was your sister, Virginia, 49 years old. It's emotional for me to even speak to you. I don't know how you deal with a death, knowing every day this could have been avoided. And this wasn't some act of God. This wasn't a natural disaster. People were involved. Just tell me how you're doing and your family right now.
Well, as a family, we were starting to heal, you know, in the beginning of the year. Unfortunately, we had another tragedy where my sister's daughter passed away literally a day before the arbitration.
I'm sorry.
A day after her 21st birthday. So basically for us, this was a mourning period, you know, so we haven't really recovered. It's still with us every single day. And also we're dealing with every family member's, you know, tragedy as well. So it's been really hard.
And you've been following the arbitration hearings. Basically, it sounds like you've been there almost every single day.
Yes.
What is that like emotionally?
There's good days and there's bad days. I think when you had somebody like Dr. Selebano attending and Dr. Manamela, those were very hard, because those were people who actually took decisions, and we were hoping to get more answers from them, but we didn't really get answers.
Now these are the two officials who've resigned. First, let's start with Manamela. Just tell me how you feel, knowing that she's resigned, and what were you getting out of her testimony?
Look, from her testimony, it was clear she wasn't taking any responsibility. So, you know, we were not surprised when we actually got the news, when I got the news, because I got them really late this afternoon that she had resigned. With her, you know, from her testimony, it was clear she wasn't taking any responsibility. It was basically not her fault. So her resigning, for me, you know, resignation does not mean you're taking accountability. It means you're just removing yourself even further from the process. Does it make you angry? It makes me incredibly angry, but what can I say? It's not for me to say.
Selebano, the HOD, also resigning. He gave that apology maybe after he had resisted even going to the arbitration hearings. Did that soften you at all?
Look, we represent a whole lot of families, and some of them actually felt that his apology was sincere. Some of them were not even anywhere close to actually accepting his apology. So you've got different you know, feelings from different families. I suppose it's depending on where they are as a family. So some of them accepted it. Me, on the other hand, having been involved, I suppose, right at the beginning, and being, you know, seeing some of these things, I'm not there yet.
When you watch them talk, you know, we all try and figure out what was in people's minds. Have you come to any conclusion? Do you think these were callous, murderous people, or were they just didn't care, or did they just not know? Do you think they had no idea of the consequences of their actions?
In the beginning, when this whole process started, when we were warning them, it's not the people that you're seeing in the arbitration. In the beginning, I mean, it was officials telling us that this is, you know, this is how what must happen, etc. So the pompous, the arrogance, and all was there. What you're seeing in the arbitration now, it's not quite the same thing.
Yeah.
So you know, it's difficult to actually believe what is being said.
So they were arrogant and defensive in the beginning, and then apologizing later. Again, have you come to any conclusions about what they were thinking when they ordered those transfers?
Look, when we were called in Randfontein, we were called for a meeting. Dr. Selebano was there, and we asked them why they're closing the facility, and they said to us it was because of funds. And we said, look, as families, we're willing to pay. Let's at least meet each other halfway. Let's do something. Let's talk. And we were dismissed. And at every turn, we were dismissed.
So this was even before the transfers?
Even before the deaths happened. Long before the deaths happened.
Tell us your sister's story. After the transfer, what happened?
My sister was at Randfontein, and we were called in January 2016 that they were going to close the facility, and that's the meeting that I just spoke about. And
a lot of families were there.
Actually, that was probably the biggest meeting attended in quite a while.
Okay, so the health department is warning you about the transfers.
They're basically telling us. In fact, they were telling us it was not we need to talk about this and come to some agreement. They were basically informing us that, you know, they were closing. And obviously they didn't tell us, they told us they're going to be closing in March, and we said to them the timeline is too short. So we had an issue with the timeline and said that it's too quick a period, and because there were a lot of families there and a lot of patients there. But we kept on visiting our loved ones, etc. And then I got an SMS in end of June saying that my sister was being moved, and basically saying that my sister's being moved today. The facility is closing today, and she's being moved to Cullinan. So obviously we phoned Cullinan. We tried to phone the number that they had provided, and we couldn't get through. Phoned Cullinan. Cullinan said no, she's at Anchor. Anchor said no, she's at Siabadinga. So it was a back and forth, and that happened for about a month.
So you couldn't even find where your sister was?
We couldn't pinpoint where she was.
Ultimately, you said Precious Angels in Atteridgeville. That
yes.
name has come up.
What happened there? She called me on the 25th of August to tell me that my sister was with her for about 6 weeks, and that she had passed away. So that's how I got to know about Precious Angels.
And did you see the deterioration, cause of death? Did you know exactly what happened?
I was still trying to find her.
I can't even imagine. The families now, is there a sense of community and a sense of where this is going? Because yes, these proceedings will wrap up. Is there a sense that there will be some justice, or will there be further action? Should there be further criminal action? How is everyone feeling?
Well, the families have been very consistent. That even those who actually testified were very clear that they need to be held accountable. It can't be that simple. We lost our loved ones. You know, we didn't just lose anybody, we lost our loved ones. And for 143 people to die under such circumstances.
No.
So the families have been very clear that there needs to be criminal action taken against these people.
Is that what you need? Somebody to go to jail for this?
It needs to make sense to me. Right now it's not making sense.
Yeah.
It's not making sense.
How has this changed your sense of being a South African? Do you think it even needs to go higher? I mean, this is 143 people. The MEC is going to come and speak, but their provincial authorities, their national authorities, or are you happy to say, look, a few individuals were reckless here? Or does this affect your entire experience of our state, in fact?
It has. In fact, I think after this whole process, I've become more alert about things. I say what I feel about everything that I see is wrong. And I speak my mind. And I'm trying to encourage everybody else out there to say, when you see something right on from the onset, speak about it. Complain about it. So I try and speak about everything that I believe is wrong. You know, where I say I'm just speaking my mind, because we complained, we fought, and nobody listened. So I don't know what else we could have done.
Yeah.
You know, but
no, it sounds like you did all you could.
We literally did all we could. I mean, I've been literally running this thing for two years solid. Just running, trying to, you know, get the families together, get the families to talk about the grief, organizing counseling for some of the families, because some families are really broken. Some family members are still losing loved ones because of the impact of this life. So it's not an easy thing.
And do you feel like Gauteng Health is there, at least in ways that they can help out, counseling, things like that right now?
So you see, we've been working with SADC right from the onset. So a lot of our counseling we get through SADC, with Cassie Chambers. Department of Health has come on board, but because they've got so much to do, and I think they've lost half of this, or a lot of their staff members. So there's a lot of, you know, catching up kind of things. So a lot of the things they need to focus. So we've literally asked SADC to be our guiding, you know, to help us with families.
And like you say, you've spent a lot of time. This is your time and energy, and basically it sounds like your life has come to, is being put on pause while this is being dealt with. What would you say to other South Africans who weren't involved but who are deeply concerned? What's your message to them? Is there any way we can help? What should we be doing? I
think we need to call for more authorities or more people in charge to to be held accountable. I think we must not stop asking for that to happen, because until that happens, we will never be able to take control of our society. Because the way things are happening now, it's almost like everybody can do what they want and get away with it, and it can't continue that way.
So there has to be a sense
there
of
has
justice.
to be accountability. Really, there has to be somebody who is actually held accountable.
Christine, we appreciate your time today.
Thank you
so much. Christine Nxumalo, one of the family members, somebody who lost a sister, Virginia, 49 years of age, in that life Esidimeni tragedy.